see if we could do this. Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're having a very good day. So finally, my in conclusion video for the month of January, where I talk about the books that I've read this month. You know, I've been waiting to spill out my guts to you guys about these books because it's been crazy, ups and downs and all around. So guys, we have a lot to talk about. We have book reviews to go over. Crazy things. Crazy. So the first book I want to talk about, guys, is The Death Cure by James Dashner. This is the third and last book in the Maze Runner trilogy. I won't go over the synopsis of The Death Cure in particular because that would be spoiling it and spoiling the other two books, but I will give a brief synopsis on the series in general. In The Maze Runner, our main character is Thomas, and he finds himself in a very peculiar situation. He wakes up without any memory other than his first name, and he finds himself in this place called the Glade. And in the Glade, it is enclosed by 4 walls that open and close during the day and night. During the day, it opens up to a big maze. They have runners that go into the maze to try to find out how to get out. And at night, it closes. And when it closes, it's a good thing because at night there are very, very scary things lurking about that will kill them. So basically what the series and the plot boils down to is Thomas trying to figure out why these boys were put into this maze in the first place. What is the purpose and meaning of all this? And it starts to become a very post-apocalyptic story, very sci-fi-ish and insane. Thomas and the rest of these characters, the weight and pressure of saving all of humanity rests on their shoulders. So that's what the series comes down to. Let's talk about the characters first of all. Let's talk about Thomas, our main character. Thomas, there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders. There's a lot of weight put upon him to make some decisions, hard decisions, very difficult ones. And in The Death Cure, I don't think Thomas stepped up to the plate. I was actually very disappointed in Thomas's character. I did not like his actions, reactions, his behavior to some of the things that were going on, especially to the bigger picture. You know, there are bigger things, greater things that are happening than what he is kind of feeling between himself and certain characters. The series is all about Thomas finding the truth, finding why they were put in the maze in the first place. And when the opportunity comes up to, you know, grab onto that truth, he withdraws. And it was very sorely disappointing to see Thomas do that. And I did not understand why until I found out there's a prequel. We will get into that at the end, but I don't think Thomas exhausted all of his opportunities and options to make an informed decision that might implicate the rest of humanity. It was kind of frustrating reading what Thomas was doing. And as for the other characters in the book, I did not feel for them the way I did in the first 2 books. I was kind of disappointed by their actions and behavior as well. I wish to see more of certain characters like Teresa, and there were also characters and organizations introduced in The Death Cure that wasn't fully explained, or we didn't really get into the depth of their roles and who they were, and I felt that was really lacking. So yeah, I was kind of sad. Characters, it's all about the characters for me. And when some of them kind of fell short, it's a rough ride reading the book. So next, guys, let's talk about the plot. I thought for the first 150 pages, it was solid. It was on point. I really liked the fast-paced action, adventure nature of The Death Cure. Is very well done. I would say that would be as far as I would go to the positives of why I like The Death Cure, was that first 150 pages. It was really, really good. After that, during the middle and end, I was kind of confused, a little confounded of what was going on, the plot direction it was going into. Thinking back, I felt I was given the runaround. You know, I don't think the bigger picture was addressed. I felt I was being stalled until the big crazy things were gonna happen at the end. That was kind of sad too. You know, I thought I adjusted my expectations accordingly with The Death Cure, but apparently not enough. Not enough. Anyways, guys, let's talk about the writing. I thought the writing was good. I thought, again, it was fast-paced. It made things flow really smoothly. You know, I really liked the short chapters. It felt like you were going through the book like nothing. Despite the plot direction and how I was feeling for the characters, you know, I couldn't help but turning the page. You know, I wish there was more foreshadowing, though. There definitely needed to be more foreshadowing because the ending, you were kind of blindsided by the whole thing, and it was very unexpected. With that being said, guys, I am going to give 3 stars out of 5. I'm going to give this an unreadable rating, unfortunately. I really like the fast-paced nature of the book, but I don't think the ending matched the intensity of the first 2 books. I felt the ending fell through hard. And to hear there is a prequel to the Maze Runner trilogy, and knowing that maybe some of the information was withheld to write that prequel, it's kind of sad. Very sad. I think just compromised the last book, and I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what it is with the last book in series. And after finishing the series, I feel the Maze Runner trilogy is more post-apocalyptic sci-fi than dystopia. It's definitely not dystopia, I feel. It's not in that genre, so my bad on that part. Anyways, guys, let's get on to the next book, Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. Classic. I really enjoyed this book, guys. So let's talk about the synopsis, what this book is all about. So the setting takes place in a futuristic society where the government has banned reading books. You can't have books, you can't read them. If someone finds out you're reading books, the firemen come to your house to burn them. And it was so sad. So very sad. It was heartbreaking. Watching the movie and seeing those books being burned, oh my gosh, my heart broke. Yeah. But anyways, our main character is Guy Montag, and he is a fireman. He burns books. He's been burning books for a while. It's all very natural to him. He thinks the kerosene that he uses to burn books smells like perfume, and he never questions why he does that until he meets his next door neighbor Clarice, who asks him why he does what he does and if he's happy. And that question, if he's happy, kind of triggers Guy Montag into questioning why he does what he does and why books are so dangerous. So let's talk about the characters next. I really like the characters. All of them were very well done. Guy Montag was a very good character to read about. It was very interesting to see how his development was as a character. You know, Montag doesn't question what he does until he meets Clarice, and I thought his development was interesting when he started to think for himself, when he really started critically thinking about what he was doing and what the burning of the books represented, and you know, his internal struggles of whether he was doing the right thing. So I thought that was really well done. And so there was also Clarice and Faber. Of course, I loved their characters and how they were all like pro books and pro reading and pro thinking, and it was great reading about those 2 characters. I wished I read more of them. I think the most interesting character in Fahrenheit 451 was Captain Beatty. He was the captain, the chief of the fire department, and I thought, although he was the antagonist to Guy Montag, I thought his motivations and motives behind what he was doing very interesting and very compelling. Captain Beatty in particular, he fell into this profession because of what happened to him, and it was very realistic. You know, even though it's crazy to think that this world bans and burns books, on another side of it, it felt very realistic that this could happen. In this world, people weren't sad when people died. How people lived was live fast and die young. And I love the advanced technology and that futuristic aspect as well in the setting. It was very cool, and how Ray Bradbury portrayed the setting was very realistic and compelling. So I really like that aspect of the book. As for writing, I thought it was written very well. Great descriptive writing. I thought the writing was on point. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to give 4 stars out of 5 on Fahrenheit 451. I thought is very well done classic. Everyone should check this out. If you love reading books, read Fahrenheit 451. It'll break your heart reading that these firemen burn these books, but it was very intense. I love the intensity of these characters, and it was so good. It was very good, so really liked it. Alright, so the last book I'm here to review for you guys is Shades of Grey by Jasper Fforde. Amazing book. Amazing dystopia book. Reading this book made me realize how much of a graphic designer I am. So let's talk about what this book is all about. So this world takes place in a futuristic setting where people can only see certain colors, and the certain colors you see determines who you are, where you stand in the social ladder. And so with grays, they're on the bottom of the ladder. They can't see any colors. And the purples, they're at the top. They're the high-ranking head honchos. I don't think it was specific specifically addressed, but I believe they see 3 colors: purple, red, and blue. And so our main character is Edward Russet, Ed Russet, however you would like to say his name. And he is a red. He sees red colors. He and his father is called out to go to East Carmine. His father is asked to become a temporary swatchman over their city. And what the swatchman is like the doctor in our world. He treats patients for their ailments and their illnesses, which we will get into. It's really cool how they do it. And he meets a very angry, very violent girl named Jane, who is a gray, who kind of shatters his world. And so that's basically where the plot takes off. He starts to see the world in a whole new light. So very good, very well done. I loved it by the time I finished it. Let's talk about, first and foremost, the setting of this amazing world Jasper Fforde created. I think this is the most complex, creative, interesting dystopia world that I've read so far. There's a lot of layers, a lot of rules. There is definitely a bigger picture scenario going on in this book, in this series. I'm so glad there are 2 more books in the series, because at the end was a great cliffhanger. Reading this book, you're kind of like a person dropped into this world, not knowing what's going on. And as you read further into the story, it's revealed how this world works. What was difficult for me was actually learning this world and observing and trying to understand how everything worked. Of course, these characters know what's going on, they know the rules, they know what's acceptable, unacceptable, and you don't know what the hell is going on. It was a process, and it made it for a very slow read. I am going to say it's a very slow-paced kind of book, but I love how Jasper Fforde takes his time in showing you the world. As I said, Eddie Russet's father, he is a swatchman, and he is like the doctor in their world. And how he works is he has these different swatches of different colors, and whatever illness you have, he shows you a certain swatch, and the brain kind of processes that and creates chemicals to kind of ease you out of that illness. And I thought that was super cool. Excellent world building. Very well done. Next, guys, let's talk about the characters. Love the characters. They were awesome. They were flawed. They were obnoxious. They were ignorant, naive, arrogant. They were really funny, fun, humorous. They had a very dry sense of humor. The setting takes place in Britain, so everyone is very British and awesome that way. They're manipulative, strong-willed, determined. They were everything. They were a whole spectrum, pardon the pun. They covered the whole spectrum of different personalities, different feelings, and again, they were very complex characters. Edward Russet is a very straight-laced, up-to-do kind of guy. He follows the government rules, and it's not until he meets Jane that everything starts to fall apart and he starts to question everything. Eddie's development throughout the book was amazing. He's pretty stupid at times and frustrating. That cat, how could he do certain things? But, you know, he learns from them. He becomes a really great character, so I really liked him. Jane, awesome female character. She's not afraid to threaten and become violent towards those she do not trust. And I love her development as well. She's not what she seems on the surface. Kind of, a little bit. She's very sarcastic, very funny. Again, has that very dry sense of humor. And I love the dynamics and what develops between those two. So, very well done. Love the characters. And of course the writing is brilliant. Oh my gosh, there's so many great words used in this book that I never come across. The dialogue is very British, but I loved it. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to give 5 stars out of 5. For the majority of the book, it was between a 3 and a 4 stars. It was going back and forth between there, but by the end, it was insane. Amazing. 5 stars. I loved it. Oh, so good. Check this out. You definitely have to read to the end. So that's everything, guys. Those are my reviews for January. How I thought of the month. You know, disappointed about the death cure. What can you do about that? But I really love Fahrenheit 451 and Shades of Grey. The most important thing for me about reading these dystopian novels is that bigger picture scenario and the setting and the world building. Like fantasy, the author needs to know this world inside and out, and you know, has to be conveyed as clearly to the reader. Yeah, I just love dystopia, and I wish to read more proper dystopias, and it's gonna be fun. I'm very excited. I will see you guys next in my next book haul for February. very excited for February. That's everything, guys. Hope these reviews were helpful. I will do an update on my Goodreads account. I'll do my initial thoughts and my star ratings and all that good stuff. So thanks, guys, for all the positive feedback and the suggestions and everything. So I'll talk to you guys later and have a good week. Bye!